Hey there, it's Kate. I wanted to hop on and talk to you guys about desire and going after our desires and the strategies we use to try to do that. Things like when there's something that you really want that matters to you, what do you do? Do you go after it? Do you make it happen, or do you feel like it's something that's not possible and it is what it is and it's not possible for me, or like. And so I was thinking about this today as I was preparing for a book talk or workshop at a local bookstore next week, and I was walking in the neighborhood and I saw a volleyball on the other side in somebody's yard on the other side of this big long stretch of bushes. And I was like, oh, that's a perfect analogy. Like this, here's this ball, but here's this barricade, right? Here's these bushes and there's not really a pathway to get through there. So if I wanted that ball, what would I do? Like what is my default habits of trying to access that ball? And so you can think like, oh, well, I could try to push my way through the bushes, right? Risk getting scratched up. I could try to tiptoe and walk around and look around the yard and maybe kind of be careful, make sure nobody's watching me, right? Like nobody sees me, kind of very carefully see if I can find a pathway to get it, but like always on guard. Like, is somebody going to see me get this ball? And can I get the ball, right? You can feel kind of that tippy-toeing, cautious behavior. Or maybe I just look at the ball and go, it's out of my reach. I guess I can't have it. And I just keep walking by it, right? So there's lots of ways that we respond when there's something that we want. But as I was thinking about that, I was like, I really don't want that volleyball. So I need to think of something that I really want. And so I just got to thinking as I'm walking, I'm like, what I really want is to be making more income with my work. I would like to actually make a profit, like it's not that I don't get paid for my work, but most of it goes funneled back into the business, back into courses, back into training, occasionally into my daughter's dance fees or a vacation for the family when I'm having good months. But overall, since I started this business, the profit has been pretty slim. Like I could go back to work as a PT and probably make more money, not necessarily per hour. Like I make good money for my time, but for the amount of energy I put into the studying, the training, the marketing, the newsletter writing, the book writing, like all the things, it's still been a lot of preparatory, like trying to build the business. And so I was like, okay, I really would like to start making a decent profit at this. Like I need to have more of an energy exchange. It's time for that. And I want to be able to buy a new shirt if I need one and not feel like, I'm taking away money from a family vacation. I want to be able to travel overseas and see my grandchildren instead of feeling like it's not possible. Like I have to work harder to make it happen. I want to be able to support my mom and dad as they're aging if there's a need, to help redesign my mom's kitchen that's falling apart. Like there's so many things that I would like to be able to do that feel like a volleyball on the other side of the bushes, right? Like that it's been difficult to access. So I've done a lot of work on money mindset and abundance and all of my money blocks and things like that. And there have been times where I've had some wins. Like I've made a lot of progress. I've transformed a lot in that area, but I'm just kind of in a place where I'm realizing there's a wall there. There's a block. There is a subconscious block, something that's stopping me from being able to receive that. And so I started thinking, okay, what are those blocks for me? And maybe, as you're listening to this, you can be thinking about this yourself. Like, what's the thing that you really want to change or make different? What is it that you really desire? Like that you're ready to be different, right? To have a different experience around. Maybe it's, like maybe you're burned out. Maybe you're working a lot of hours and you're exhausted and there's no time freedom for exercise or for hobbies you enjoy, or to enjoy your family when you're with them because you don't have any bandwidth and you're just tired and impatient, So maybe it's more time freedom that you want. Maybe it's you just want to experience more job fulfillment, right? Maybe you're just doing a job that you're doing to get a paycheck and it's just not fulfilling for you anymore, and you'd really like to enjoy and be excited to get up in the morning in the work that you're doing. Maybe maybe it's a better relationship. Maybe you're not having good relationships with your adult children right now and you really want to create change around that, And so we kind of want to name that desire, and then we want to look at, okay, what's getting in the way? What's getting in the way? And so for me, when I thought about, what are the things getting in the way? Well, the roadblocks are telling people what I do, being able to articulate that, being able to explain it and put words to it and use my voice adequately to describe the work so that I can invite somebody else into it, to really help them understand the transformational experience that they could have. It's being able to really more clearly define and pick a lane. Like I have a big, strong resistance around feeling like I'm going to get boxed in. This comes from early childhood, not feeling like I can have what I want. And so I want freedom, but I am giving myself so much freedom that it feels restrictive to pick a lane. And that's all so much subconscious stuff. I've been working on this for years, and I did have a breakthrough around that the other day, by the way. But it's challenging for me to narrow that down. What else was I going to say? Charging for the value of the work that I do. That's gotten a lot better. It's definitely better than the work I was doing as a PT or doing lots of volunteer work as a children's ministry director without being paid. So it's come a long way, but I'm still not charging for the value. I'm not charging for the outcome as much as I am. There's still some of that time for money thing, which is not really the value of the work or what the clients are receiving. Networking, getting out there and doing actual events, getting in front of people and highlighting the work and letting people experience it. And so there's a lot of things I could be doing differently that would lead to a different outcome, right? And so then you want to look at, well, what's going on, right? You guys can see that what's going on probably just as I listed. There's fear, right? There's fear. Some of it's guilt. There's so many things that are at play there, but a lot of it is just the strategies that I've learned. So one of the things I always say is the strategies we learn to survive become the strategies upon which our life continues to be dependent upon. And so if our brain has seen us use these strategies over and over again to keep us safe, to keep us alive, it's going to default to them every time. Whatever worked as a child, we continue to use that same strategy, even if it's sabotaging, even if it's not working anymore. And it's one of the reasons I wrote this book, is to really help women begin to understand the role of good girl conditioning, the role of our inner good girl in trying to keep us safe, relationally safe, so we're seen as good, to try to keep us in alignment with our core values of always being seen as a person like this, perfectionism, people pleasing, all of that stuff, and how that plays into being a barrier to not only their health and well-being, but their relational satisfaction and their ability to move forward in their lives into fulfillment. So I was looking at my strategies and I began to go, okay, I'm spending a lot of time on the other side of that barricade of those bushes, thinking about it, brainstorming, coming up with ideas, lots and lots and lots of in here, right in here, and not taking all of that energy and putting it into motion, using it in a forward motion. Does that make sense? What other strategies? Okay, so I did actually, this is why this was a big deal for me, guys. I stopped just writing newsletters and all of these things, and you wouldn't even believe the number of pages and Google documents of notes I have on things, and I finally put it into something lasting, and so that was a big win. But I started to move forward and launch the book and gathered a launch team, and I was taking forward action. I was doing a lot of putting myself out there and getting the book into people's hands, and I've been on 3 podcasts. So I want to acknowledge that it's so important for us to acknowledge our wins and what we are doing that's different, right? I'm using a different strategy. I'm actually pivoting and doing something different so that I'm taking all that energy and mobilizing it into action, right? So that I can create a different outcome. And it was working. I actually got a client from this, and so that was an example of, hey, that was a different outcome, right? But here's what happens a lot, and this is my common strategy and a lot of women's common strategies. We put ourselves out there, and if we don't get enough feedback and not enough external validation, not enough of a quick win, we go right back into our default strategy. Or something gets hard or life gets busy and we go right back into default, right? It's just into our safety zones. And then we just, and it's so easy to do without realizing it. Like you can all of a sudden go, oh, what did I do all week? I did this and this and this. How many of those were productive? I don't want to, when I say productive, like creating the results that I want, okay? How many of them actually led to getting on calls with somebody? How many led to potential conversations with potential clients or women that want to engage in this service and invest in this service? And you can see a lot of the same patterns of just staying stuck and overthinking, using my energy in a way that is just staying in a safety zone, if that makes sense. And so that's super common, and it's super common for me. And so what else did I say was a block for me? Yeah, starting something and then pulling back, right? Like I went and delivered these cards the other day, which was a big step for me. It was action, right? I went out there and I was trying to make connections with people that, like different PTs or OTs that had clinics in my area, to cultivate conversation and relationships, a little bit of networking, and and see how our businesses might support each other, or just whatever that led to. I really didn't have strings attached, but I delivered them, and I haven't taken any other action. I haven't reached out. I haven't emailed them. I haven't called them. I haven't gone by again. Why is that, right? What feels at risk? What lets me know to stop and not keep going, right? To come back into my comfort zone again. So there's things like that. And then the other things we do, like hope, and we dream, and we pray, and we pray, and we pray. God, like, help me to figure this out. Help me to find the word, and it's all good and well to pray and ask for help and ask for support. Like, that's great. We want interdependency. But if we don't align with God's power and love and action and that energy inside of us to create things, if we're not mobilizing that and taking action, then we're just in passivity. We're in hesitancy. We're in fear. We're like, you please open the door. You please do it, because I don't feel safe enough, right? And again, this isn't about getting into a pattern of independence or overworking or aggressiveness in a way of like, I have to use all this energy and fight for this to make it happen. We're not going for that. That's another strategy, right? That burns us out. But we're talking about like, how do I co-work with God, with interdependency, with the support and resources in the world around me, to create this change, right? So I have to be a part of that, if that makes sense. Let's see, what other strategies did I say? Yeah, just getting stuck in learning and studying and taking more courses and helping more people, hoping eventually I'll be confident enough to say, hey, this is really valuable work here. Like, the services I offer are crazy valuable. Like, people are getting out of bad relationships and finding their getting engaged and getting married. There are people that are getting out of bad job situations and finding work that's more fulfilling. There are people that are finding their creative gifts again, healing relationships with adult children. Like, there's really, like, and not to mention the health stuff that happens. No more migraines. I'm not falling into shutdown and freeze response, less depression. It matters. Oh, no panic attacks. This is work that matters in the world, yet I hold it in this safe place. And if maybe you hear about it from somebody else, you might could access it. Right? So anyway, those are just some examples of my safety patterns and the strategies that come up that keep me from actually receiving my desires. And so I said all that. I'm trying to remember why I even started this video. Was just, yeah, that's a lot of what I talk about in the book. And there's several chapters on it. One of my favorite, and I think what I'm going to do this talk on next week is chapter 9, I believe, on how to access our fight response for creating positive change and transformation in our lives, and how so many of us as women don't have that. We don't know how to get that energy that stays in here as anxiety or just gets directed into people pleasing and over functioning behaviors, like just working, but never receiving, where we're just, get to a place of burnout. There's so many things that we do with our energy that isn't something that creates reciprocal nourishment back to us, right? Like, I want to use my energy in a way that actually allows it to flow back towards me, right? And so that chapter talks a lot about that, and the whole book has stories about that and how it impacts us. It impacts our health, our well-being, and our ability to experience and live a life of joy, fulfillment, and impact. And that matters. It matters, doesn't it, guys? So anyway, just wanted to jump on and share about that, little encourage you to maybe that's something you can think about today. Like, what is it that you're desiring that really matters to you? It's not, and think about the benefits to you, the benefits to your family, the benefits to the world. I'm really naming it and acknowledging it. And to be honest, like, that's something that's hard to name for many women. It's hard to name for me. Like, I can say, oh, I want impact for women. Oh, I want this for my mom. I want this for my family. But for me to say I want to receive more income, do you feel the block there? Right? My whole system is like, I don't think you can say that, right? And so it's learning to be more receptive, to be able to allow ourselves to open up to receive that. Because if we're resistant, if our system doesn't feel safe with it, we're going to block it and sabotage it all day long. So be thinking about that. You can think about, what are your blocks? What are the things that are getting in the way for you? And what are the strategies you're using? Like, see if you can think through, what are you doing? If that thing is the ball on the other side of the bushes, what are you doing and not doing? What are you using? What are you doing with your energy? What's happening inside of you, right? When you do try to go after it, if you face resistance or you don't get validation, then what do, right? Just notice that and notice the outcome. What's the result of that? Is that getting where you want, right? So that's the work I do as a coach. It's an honor to do it. As you can see, I have to keep doing the work on myself. This growth work is a continual process. Every time we move forward, I wrote the book. I started a business. I got out of a job that was draining me and began doing work that I love. So I've been taking these steps, but every time we step into a new season, a new stretch, right? What I call it stretch zone. We got to navigate the fear zone again, and that old default stuff likes to come up again. And so it's a continual process of growth and being able to expand in the world instead of shrinking back. I hope that was helpful today. If this is something that you would love more of, I am actually got several things starting up in September. Opening up a few new spots for one-on-one clients, and I also have a group program that I'm going to be starting, as well as I'm really excited about that, because we're going to really get into action with this stuff and integrate the concepts of this book, and we're going to do a retreat together and really do some in-person stuff where we're working with our bodies in a way of learning how to harness that power and that energy for positive change in our lives. And to not let fear and these strongholds and this conditioning keep us held back behind that wall anymore. It's too important. So that's a possibility. I'm also looking at creating a container for people that just want to take a baby step in and have these conversations with other women, more of like a book club circle with a little bit more like some journaling and things like that going on, reflections and things. And so if you'd like to know more about that, here's me taking action and mobilizing that energy. Schedule a discovery call with me and let's talk about what you're wanting to do differently, what you're wanting to experience more of and less of, and we can kind of find a good fit for you and what's next for you and which one of those containers might fit your needs. So hope you have a great day, and I'll talk soon.